ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ।
Friends, welcome back to the study of Mundaka Upanishad. We had completed detailed study of the two Mundakas, nearly 66 verses. And I thought before I go to the concluding part, let us revise our studies from first shloka to the 66th shloka. Now, dears, the subject matter is a little subtle. It takes a little time to understand the import of the teaching. Why it is subtle? It is subtle because in this Upanishad, the Upanishadakar, that is Maharishi Angirasha, who is the teacher of the Upanishad, whose teachings are printed out in this form, and we call it Mundaka Upanishad, a basket full of ideas. Those ideas are as sharp as a razor, so that a razor shaves off the finest hair without any trace. These sharp ideas of this Mundaka will shave off without any trace the ignorance of my true original nature. That ignorance will be totally removed, shaved off. This is the meaning of this word Mundaka Upanishad. A basket full of words which forms into a meaning, an idea. The ideas are as sharp as a razor, and when you assimilate these ideas, you receive, you assimilate, and you absorb through the study of this Upanishad. What happens to you? The ignorance of your own true original nature is totally shaved off. It is totally removed, and you rehabilitate in yourself, in your lost glory, in your lost majesty, in your lost magnificence, your true original nature. And what is it? I've told you many a times, repetition is always helpful. Ayam Atma Brahma, that is the conclusion. What I know as I am is the absolute entity. Somehow or other, I've forgotten that absolute true nature of mine, and not only have forgotten, I've strongly identified myself with what I am not. I've identified myself with this body, I've identified myself with this life, with my mind, with my intelligence, and finally with my ego. I am. As soon as I say am, this body-mind complex takes hold of me totally. This Upanishad teaches you, firstly, rationally, intellectually, to convince you that this concept of Atman Brahman is not a fairy tale, is not a woolly-headed idea. It stands on a rock-solid intellectual conviction. And to reach you to that goal, he doesn't speak about the absolute right away. He starts from where we are. Where are we? The world is real. My sense of duty is real. My hobby is real. My likes and dislikes are real. And my life flows on these so-called not real realities, unreal realities. That is how my life flows. So the teacher starts from saying, look, my dear child, Shaunaka, you wanted to know from me, is there anything, first knowing which intellectually, finally experiencing it spiritually, there will be nothing left to be known. You will be totally saturated because you have known the essence of the cosmos. So he says, there are two branches of learning. One is not so sublime, but indispensable. Apara vidya, not so sublime, para is sublime, climax. It is not so sublime, but it is indispensable. To live in this world, you have to have some knowledge to earn your livelihood and bread and maintain yourself and your family. That falls in the category of not so sublime, apara vidya, and he will explain to you what is the object of that vidya. Various objects of that apara vidya. And then he says, there is another one, which is the sublime knowledge. What is that sublime knowledge? Yaya, the procedure of knowing and experiencing leads you to tat aksharam adhigamyate. You slowly and steadily, a gradual process of evolution by your own willpower. You are accelerating that process of evolution, and according to our political scientists, they say revolution is an accelerated process of evolution. It happens overall suddenly. Here what happens, by means of which Paravidya, the sublime knowledge, firstly in the phase of intellect, when you know, when you have a rock-solid intellectual conviction of this Paravidya, then he will teach you what are the self-imposed disciplines, what are the ways and means by means of which you can sharpen, hone and polish your faculties, and they become so subtle, so deep, that you can experience that as your true original nature. Yaya tat aksharam adhigamyate. Yaya means by help of which that knowledge, paravidya vishaya, with the help of that knowledge, tat aksharam, that immutable, that infinite, that eternal, that absolute is achieved adhigamyate in a slow and a procedural manner, abhinnataya prapyate. You be and become one with it. How come? I say I am. and I am saturated with this concept of amness, with this body-mind complex. Whenever I say I am, what does it mean? I am Swami Sridharananda. This is how I appear. This is how I look. These are my qualities of life. And this is the utility of my life in this society. This is my utilitarian value. That's all. But this awareness of amness, I do not know what this amness is. The subject matter of Paravidya, Vishaya, subject matter of Paravidya is to abhinnataya prapyate. You develop a non-separate identity with your true original nature. I and you, this basic concept disappears. I am one. I am the absolute. There's nothing two about it. You may say that is a woolly-headed idea, it's a fairy tale, it is not achievable. The understanding is very funny. I was born in a suburb of original city of Calcutta, in a lane. That was my identity. I was born in Calcutta. I have identified myself as a Calcasian. Good enough. I went to school and I learned Calcutta is a capital of a state known as Bengal. So I increased my area of identity. I am a Calcasian, but more pervasive is I am a Bengali. I studied further and I was told Bengal is a state of India, a country. So I am an Indian. I am a Calcasian. I have expanded identity. I am a Bengali. I am an Indian. Furthermore, I expand. I am an Asian. I am a member of the human society, 1 out of quadrillion. Am I not growing in my identity? I am in the domain of aparavidya, in the domain of this world, I am expanding. I am a Calcasian, I am a Bengali, I am an Indian, I am an Asian, I am a member of the human society. That society consists of more than a quadrillion people. I belong to that. I am increasing, expanding my identity. The final identity that Upanishad will teach you is, you are the essence of the universe. You are the absolute. You are the real. The rest appears to be real, but on analysis we find they are not real, and the definition of reality must be instilled in our brains. As of now, the chair is real, the hall is real, the carpet is real. But if we follow the statement, the definition of reality, it doesn't fit in with that definition. What is real? Trikala abadhita jnanam satyam. Definition. Trikala, 3 phases of time. What is that three phases of time? Past tense, past is one phase. The present is the second phase, and the third is future. Our conviction, which is not contradicted by the past, the present, and future. What does it mean in reality? Say, for instance, this carpet. This carpet, at one point of time, in a corner of the world, was knitted, was woven. It was not there before it was woven. It is there for nearly 70 years, and it is tearing off from the edges. Slowly and slowly, it will disintegrate and disappear. It was not there. It happened to be there by creation. It stayed for a while, and it will not be there later on. The concept of time in three phases proves it is not eternal. It was not there, it is there, it will not be there. Therefore, the definition of reality, definition of absolute existence does not hold on this material. A. B, by contrast, I am. I said I am when I've just collected my wits as a baby. I am. That babyhood disappeared into childhood. I am. Childhood disappeared, boyhood came. I am. Boyhood disappeared, youth came. I am. Adulthood came. I am. Mature adulthood came. I am. Old age came. I am. And when I am dying, I say, I am dying. I am. I am going through a process known as dying, as I am born on such and such a day. I was born on such a day. I am before birth, I am after birth. The three phases of time cannot destroy my experience of amness. This awareness of my amness fits in with the definition of truth, where three phases of time cannot prove it wrong. It exists beyond the first phase, it exists beyond the third phase. It is ever existence. I am the eternal. Secondly, look at this world. Before you cognize something, before you say confidently, I see this. What is that? I see this chair. Before seeing that chair, I, the seer, I am aware I am. And it is, that is why I see thereafter. If it is not there, I don't see it. Therefore, I do not know it. isness comes first. And the four concepts, name, form, qualities and utilitarian value, Nam, Rupa, Guna, Artha, Kriya, Karitva, comes later. Isness comes first. Isness is here, isness is everywhere. Isness is real, and the rest appears to be real, but not real because it does not fit in with the definition of reality, Tri Kala Abadita Jnanam Satyam. This is logic, sharp common sense. One doesn't need a doctorate or a DLit or a doctorate in philosophy to understand that. It is commonsensical. Maharishi Angirasha here has started the subject, and that is why I wanted to revise it. This is the kingpin, the fulcrum of the study of Upanishadic values. What does he say? Apara Vidya is that which is pertinent to this huge apparent world, which is real to be. But the definition of a reality does not fit in here, because time has an effect on it. The carpet was not there, the carpet is there, the carpet will not be there. Therefore, it appears to stay for a while in point of time, but I cannot call it an absolute reality. Compared to that, I can call myself real. I am. I was born. I will die. I exist. This is the difference. Now this I am is being described in sloka number 6. Today, dears, I will cover sloka number 6, sloka number 7, sloka number 8, and sloka number 9. That completes the first chapter of the first Mundaka. He is trying to explain to you what this I am is. As far as it's possible with suggestive words. There is a little deviation, if you permit me. I am lost in the outback. I've come at a crossroad when the road bifurcates to my right and to my left. And I don't remember rightly to reach my destination which road I should take. Being a wise person, I don't make a mistake. I sit there, wait there, and ask if there is a passerby, a traveler, to ask him which way is my destination. As good luck would have it, I find a person walking up the right path. Deep from the valley, he is walking up, climbing up. I see him, I run to him. Sir, did you get a rivulet there, a river there, a small all-season creek there? He says, yes. Why? What for? Sir, I want to go to the village which is just up the climb from that river. Is that village there? I come from that village. The village is very much there. So how do I proceed, sir, to my village, my destination? He looks around. He sees a very tall gum tree. He says, you see that gum tree? Yes, sir. The trunk of the tree is right below. You imagine your sight is coming down from the top of the gum tree to the trunk where it meets the soil. Just 10 feet away, 3 meters away, there is that river, that creek which you are speaking of. And this walk crosses that river and goes up. You climb up and you reach your destination. You do not see the river. But the way he describes, you have a vague understanding what you'll have. While walking, you keep a watch on that top of the gum tree. More you come close, you climb down. And ultimately, you walk down to the valley, you see the trunk of the gum tree, and 3 meters away, as the seer has said, the river flows. Climb up and you are your destination. You have not seen anything, but the graphic way that he explained, you know where to find the river, where to find the trunk, and you are confident. The absolute cannot be described because it's beyond name, form, qualities. But the teacher wants me to have a vague understanding of that absolute. It is known as Tatastha Lakshana, sign and symptom and symbol of that is which on the bank of the river. Tata means bank. Top of the tree gives you a confident understanding where the river is flowing. You don't see the river, but you see the top of the tree which has nothing to do with the river. But he has created a relationship in such a manner that seeing the top of the gum tree, I can visualize there is the trunk of the tree, that is the soil, 3 meters beyond, water is flowing. I have no perception about it, but I have a vague understanding of what it is. That is known as a symbolic description of something which cannot be described. Atman cannot be described. So let us see what the 6th shloka is saying. And this is the purpose of my revision. This is the main fulcrum, the pillar, the cornerstone of Vedanta philosophy. Yat tat, that which is. Yat tat, that which is. Adrasham, unseeable, beyond the capacity of vision. That means beyond the capacity of your 5 sense organs. Vision, hearing, smelling, touching, tasting. That is beyond. That which is beyond the perception of 5 sense organs. Agrajyam, it is not tangible enough to hold it. Tactual. Agrajyam. Agotram. There is no root. From the root you say, oh, he is this. As for instance, I have heard of a famous man in the city, say before I was born, and I see his great-grandson. How do I identify that great-grandson out of this motley crowd? He is the great-grandson of that famous gentleman. I have found out through the roots of that man. Agotram, it has no root. Abarnam, it cannot be described, it cannot be perceptible, it has no color. Varna has been used in two ways. Varna is color and avarnaniyam is describable, indescribable. That which is not perceptible by sense organs, that which cannot be tactually felt and held, that which cannot be described, which is colorless, that which has no root. Achakshushrotram tadapani padam. He concludes, it doesn't have 5 sense organs. It doesn't have 5 working limbs. Hastapadapani upastapayu. It doesn't have anything. How do I understand it? But jatat adrishyam, but nitham. It is eternal. It is beyond the concept of time. Time exists in him. Time starts in him. Time ends in him. He is beyond time. Achakshu Shrotram. 5 sense organs cannot see it. Chokshu Shrotram. Apanipadam. It is not there. But it is Nityam. Eternal. The concept of time is imposed on it. Concept of space is imposed on it. In our worldly sciences, they are eternal by themselves. But from Vedanta philosophy point of view, the isness, the absolute is eternal. The rest is all appears to be eternal and real, not so. Nityam is eternal, everlasting, Vibhum, ever permeating and present. Sarvagatam, to be found everywhere, wherever your eyes fall, wherever your 5 sense organs can reach, he is there. Sarvagatam, how is Vibhu? He is everywhere, permeating everything. Shushmam, he permeates ether, ether permeates everything. He permeates ether. Nityam Vibhum Sarvagatam Sushukshmam. And what is another positive aspect? Yat, that which is known as what? Bhutajonim, cause of this whole manifested universe. That is how the realized souls experience him. Dhira Purushaya means Sthita Pragya Purusha, Dhira Purusha, realized Purusha, Atmagya Purusha, Brahmagya Purusha. Those who have achieved their journey, achieved their goal at the end of their journey. This is how the concept of soul is being described in a vague manner, tatastha lakshana, indirectly, because it cannot be described. There is nothing to be described. That which is devoid of description is the concept of Sunya in Buddhism, concept of Atman and Brahman in Vedanta. Sunya means devoid of all definition. No definition fits into it. That is why the concept is Sunya. I can't define it, but it is. It is not eternal void. It is positive, throbbing entity. It is void of description. So he starts the subject. Let us move on, that it is not graspable, not seeable, not visible, not anything, but it is eternal. It is all permeating. It is very, very subtle, subtler than concept of ether. Ether is, that isness is the Atman, the Brahma. Let us move on to the next shloka. How is it possible, sir, that I can, to some extent, reinforce this vague definition, which is really vague? It is devoid of all adjectives. It is devoid of all description, but it is eternal. That is why for a sadhaka, a person who wants to realize that goal, who is this I am? That is a point where he will never go and make a mistake. I am is a concrete, tangible reality in my awareness. And I am aware, I am. I am aware, I exist. Satta and Chetana of Sridharananda is constantly with me and I have no idea about it. I never think of it. It is so spontaneous with me. So the teacher now gives you an example. Examples are very good educators, where your idea and my idea, the teacher and the student, their ideas agree. That is the best example. I will not repeat the Sanskrit definition. Wherever the students and the teacher's opinion agrees is the best example. He gives you an example on the 7th chapter. He gives you 3 examples, one after the other, in 4 lines. What is it? First example. Jathornanabhi srijate grindhate cha. Urnanabhi is a spider. Srijate grindhate cha. It creates. I will request you to go and find out an opportunity in the outback, in the forested area. See a spider building up its website to catch insects and flies to keep himself alive. That is the purpose of his web. Where does he get those fine threads from? Does he go to a plaza to buy fine threads? He brings it out of himself. It's a part and parcel of his whole organism. He draws the line, he looks at it with his eyes popping off, and then he's not happy. He absorbs that, redraws again. He creates from himself, he absorbs within himself. That is the exemplification. A spider, without anybody's help, can create a thin web, a thread of a web, and it can absorb it also. Example 1. Jatha urnanabhi srijate, creates, grindhate, absorbs. Similarly, Jatha prithibhyam oshadhaya sambhavanti. Jatha, another example. In Mother Earth, everybody knows innumerable types of herbs and weeds and etc. comes up, lives for a while, goes back to Mother Earth again. They are different from Mother Earth. That is, something different from your original nature is spontaneously created and later on absorbed. This is the point of exemplification. Don't go further. In an Urnanabhi, whatever he creates is similar to his body. He absorbs it into his body mechanism. Here in the world, various different, infinite number of weeds and herbs, medicinal and poisonous, and trees come out of the Mother Earth automatically, stays for a while, and withers away into the Mother Earth. He says, not trees, Oshadaya, herbal plants with medicinal value. That is, it has an effect on your body. Comes out of Mother Earth, but has an effect on your body. It comes out, it stays, it goes back. You utilize it for yourself. Bilakshana, totally separated from what earth is. And third example, another, Jatha Purushat Keshalobadi. Purusha, that is you and me, human being. In their body, nails, hair, and body hair, head hair and body hair automatically comes off. It doesn't go back again. I am told Buddha is dead and gone 2,500 years ago. His hairs are still preserved. His tooth is still preserved. It remains. But it has come out of that body. Tatha, with these three examples, I tell you, from that indescribable absolute, this diversity has emanated. See what a choice of example. Diversity has emanated from the absolute. Tatha aksharat sambhavati iha vishwam. Iha vishwam tatha aksharat sambhavati. This whole cosmos has come out of that absolute entity. How can you say so? Absolute becoming phenomenal? Look at a spider. Look at Mother Earth. Look at your own body. Your nails, your body hair, your head hair, they automatically come off totally different from what you are. These three examples only say it is similar as well as dissimilar. What is the similarity? Jivatma is the similarity. And whatever with which I identify is dissimilar. This is how you should understand this chain of examples. Let us move over to the eighth. Now he tells you how he creates the world. Give me a little time. Say, for instance, you are a creative artist. Or let me be very, very homely. You are a potter. You play with clay, and on the wheel, potter's wheel, you turn that clay pot of clay, and you play with your deft fingers, and you create. before you create, you plan it intellectually and mentally. Say, for instance, a kitchen. You make up your mind you will cook a pizza. You figure out, this is how I'll make the base first, and these are the ingredients my boys like. I'll have those ingredients. The whole thing is created in your mind first. Then with different material, you conglomerate them and the material is created. That is what we know of creation. How God creates this world? Tapasa chiyate brahma tato annam abhijayate annat pranaha mana satyam loka karmashu cha amritam. The whole gamut of this cosmology is expressed here. That absolute has the capacity to create, to preserve and maintain, and in point of time it disintegrates and it demolishes. That entity known as Brahman, there's a little difference here I'll highlight to you later on. Nirguna Brahma and Saguna Brahma. Here he is speaking of the creator of this universe, Parama Ishvara, the Lord God of the universe, who is the creator, preserver and destroyer, not the absolute in a phenomenal form. As I am the absolute in a phenomenal form. He is Parama Ishvara, Purusha Vishesha. He has certain qualities which are not given to me. Ja Sarvagya Sarvavit is the next shloka. I'll come to that later on. Let me read this shloka. Tapasa chiyate Brahma. His willpower to creative. His willpower to be creative. He swells. How? What is an example which will give you an idea? A dry black gram. A dry chickpea, whatever it is. A dry piece of corn. You keep it in water for 24 hours. It absorbs water and it swells. As soon as it swells, you know it is ready to sprout. You give it conducive earth and fertilizer, etc., and put it just below the earth's level, soil's level. Wait for another 24 hours, and it sprouts. Tapasa chiyate Brahman here means God wills it. And in the Upanishad that has been described, let me repeat it to you so that you will understand it better. Eko aham bahusyam prajayeya. I am alone. I would like to be many, and I'd like to play with myself. I am alone. I would like to be many. It is swollen like a swollen corn. And let me be many. And he sprouts. And the whole world comes out of his idea. This is Srishti Tattva, the science of cosmology according to Vedanta. Tapasa chiyate Brahma. That Parameshwara, here Brahma means Parameshwara, not Nirgun Brahma, Sagun Brahma, Ishvara, Parameshwara. He says, I am alone. I would like to be many so that I can play with myself the concept of Deva Leela, the play, the game. He thinks that way, and his thought materializes as your thinking materializes as a creative artist. You create something, you think of it. He also plans and programs this institution, this whole world, and it is created. Tapasa chiyate Brahma. Tataha, from that, anyam, matter, upajayate. Anna, pranaha, life forces, manaha, the emotions, and satyam, the sense of reality. Loka karmashu chamritam. And this whole world is created, we are created. And as he wants to play with us, we play in this world. And we create an unending chain of karma and karma phala. In a short sloka, the whole of cosmology, according to Vedanta philosophy, is being explained to you. Now, dears, let us try and understand the distinction between Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirvikalpa Brahma, the absolute, which cannot be defined but can be experienced as a reflection of absolute in my egocentric existence. I am. That absolute is absolute all the time. How do you justify this world? How can an absolute be phenomenal? He is not justifying. He is playing a game to satisfy you. Sri Ramakrishna used to make it absolutely simple. He used to say, look, don't get confused about what is Nirgun Brahma and Saguna Sakara Parameshwara. Don't get confused. How did he say not to get confused? Think of a snake. When the snake is hibernating, it is almost dead. It only exists in name. But that snake, after hibernation, is a venomous reptile. He can kill you by biting you. The snake is one of two different states. He gives example of a snake. He gives example of mass of water in ocean. Sometimes the ocean is as still as a piece of glass. If you don't have an occasion to see the ocean, go and see your back pool, swimming pool in the backyard. There you will find the water is so still, it is absolutely like a sheet of glass. And that water in ocean becomes a tsunami. Nonetheless, whether it is tsunami or a glass still water face, it is water. You call it by many names, they are the same. So, I am all the time questioning, who is the creator? You say he is absolute. How can absolute be phenomenal? Absolute remains an absolute all the time. To convince you, I imagine that absolute as Ishvara. And your duty of life is to merge with the Ishvara, and that Ishvara will tell you what is his true original nature. First you go into Savikalpa Samadhi. After achieving that, if God is pleased with you, if he thinks you worthy, if he has of some use to you, of you, if he has some use of you, he will give you Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And then you will know this whole world has no real existence of its own. It appears to be real. Nama Rupa Annam Cha Jayate. Let us read the last sloka of this chapter. What does he say? Ja Sarvagya Sarvavit Jasya Jnanam Ayam Tapaha. Anna Prat. No, Tapasa Chiyate Brahma. This I have read. The next one, I'm sorry. Ja Sarvagya Sarvavit Jasya Jnanamayam Tapaha Tasmat Etad Brahma Nama Rupa Annam Cha Jayate. Ja Sarvagya, he who knows everything in general. Sarvavit, he knows everything in particular. There's nothing unknown to him. A generalistic man who knows, he knows the generics of it. Sarvavit, he knows every detail of it. That is, there's not a speck of space or an iota of time or a situation or a happening which he does not know. Knower of all, knower of everything. That is what he is. Because of his will, he creates this world. Tato tasmat etar jayate brahma nama rupa annam cha jayate. From this Brahman, we see all this has come out. But when I go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the world disappears into the body figure of the Lord, your Ishtadev or Ishtadevi. And then beyond, you merge with, it happens to you, it is experienceable, not describable. Ja Sarvagya, he who is all-knowing in general, all-knowing in particular. Jasya Jnanamaya Tapaha. This tapasya, the spirit of creation, is nothing but his knowledge, what to create, how to create. Tasmati tad Brahma, from this Brahman, the Saguna Sakar Savikalpa Brahma, Nama Rupa Annam Cha Jayate. Name, form, matter, subtle things, everything comes out of it. This is Para Vidya Vishaya. This is as object matter, the subject of learning of Upanishad Shabda Rashi. The whole gamut of words of this Upanishad, like a razor-sharp razor, it will wipe away all your darkness of your true original nature, and he makes it clear that that is the goal of our life. And he is the absolute reality, both in the absolute form and in phenomenal form, to explain to you what the world is like. Because in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Ishvara also does not exist. He merges with the divine. The snake is hibernating. So dears, we have revised the first chapter of the first Mundaka. Now, we'll go into the second chapter of the first Mundaka. It will be very quick because it deals with Yaga, Yajna, Brata, Parayana, which was a way of life when we lived in the forest and dales thousands of years ago. But there's a relevance to understand it in our present day life, but that is the basis of Karma Yoga. Thank you, dears. Thank you ever so much. We meet again to study the second chapter of the first Mundaka as a revision. Please don't mind me saying so. I'll be very happy if you get a small book for yourself, the Mundaka Upanishad by Swami Sridharananda ji, hardly costing anything. Only the origin and the literal word-to-word translation of the origin. No commentary. Please. Thank you.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna